Next, I just wanted to ask Roger Saxon, who's the chair of the Dounreay Stakeholder Group, just to comment from the community about what's happening at Scrabster. So, Roger, do you want to say a few words?
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. Yes, and thanks, Tom, for your presentation. I'm Roger Saxon, and chair of the Dounreay Stakeholder Group. I live quite close to Scrabster. In fact, you can see my house, I think, in some of these pictures he showed there. And my family have had a long association with Scrabster, starting with me in the Scrabster Sea Scouts. Imagine, maybe it's a bad idea. You're thinking of me in short shorts, but maybe you can just put that out of your mind altogether. My parents ran a small craft shop there for about 30 years. It's called the Wee Shop. It was on the Ola Pier there, end of the Ola Pier. And my wife, for a short while, ran a cafe in the ferry terminal as well. So that was our involvement. And until the 4th of May this year, I was the councillor for the area, for Thurso and Scrabster. Not that the 4th of May is ingrained in my mind, but I didn't get re-elected, so. But in the short time Tom's had to tell you about that, it's quite difficult to do justice to what's going on. That place is actually absolutely buzzing. It's the 4th largest pelagic fishing port in Scotland. It's got the fish market he mentioned there, fish processing, export, import of fish. There's 2 companies plus a haulage contractor base there. If you go to Portugal and have a lobster for your evening meal, it's almost bound to come from Scrabster. The seafood goes as far as China, and in fact, as does imported farmed salmon from the Faroes and so on. Cargo, there's timber export from our forest in the north there. There's onshore wind turbine components get imported there. There's the ferry service, of course. It's the lifeline ferry service to Orkney, not the only one, but it's the biggest and best ship there, and it's the one that the Orkney people really depend on as a lifeline. And recently, the Scottish government introduced road equivalent tariff, so although there's three crossings a day in the season and 2 in the off season, that may well increase if the traffic goes up. Just that. Oil and gas industry. The west of Shetland is perhaps the most challenging environment, more challenging for exploration and production than some of the North Sea oil fields, and Scrabster is, of course, the closest mainland port. Offshore renewables, you saw the Maygen tidal power. It's already installed. It's generating 6 megawatts of power. I think there's potential for up to 300 megawatts of tidal power in the Pentland Firth, just to the east of where Scrabster is. So well set up for that. And it was parts of that were installed and serviced from Scrabster. Cruise ships, I think we had about 12 this year. Some big ones, some smaller ones. Some of the big ones actually can't berth, so if they could berth in Scrabster, that would actually improve that for them as well. Leisure and small craft, the marina that you saw there, and of course the Pentland Firth Yacht Club, the oil terminal, a hotel, an award-winning fish restaurant. Keeps going. The lifeboat station, and you saw the lighthouse there, built by the famous Stevenson family, the Robert Louis Stevenson fame. One of those Stevenson lighthouses. But all this development that goes on at Scrabster is done by a volunteer board. You know, they've got a small staff. He was talking about the large number of people in the wider community being employed, but there's actually quite a small core of people employed there at Scrabster. When the NDA was set up, a lot of people campaigned to ensure that socio-economics was at the forefront of their activities. We set up the Caithness and North Southern Regeneration Partnership, and you'll see our stand there in the hall. And that was to ensure a sustainable future beyond Dounreay, beyond the decommissioning and to replace employment in the area. A partnership includes representatives from all the major local employers, the ports, the airport, voluntary sector, Highlands Islands Enterprise, Highland Council, It's actually chaired by the leader of the council. That shows how important they see it. And it's attended by their Director of Planning and Development as well. The Scottish Government comes to it as well. And of course, the Dounreay Stakeholder Group is in there fighting for everything we can get. We get regular updates on the issues around economic development, both from our programme manager and from the partners, and it's a very useful means of exchanging information and looking for synergies. The Chamber works hard at developing the young workforce, running annual jobs fair, showcasing the capabilities of local companies to the world, and DSRL, Dounreay, and the Dounreay Cavendish Partnership work at encouraging SMEs to collaborate and gain work at Dounreay. As I say, DSG has been at the forefront of lobbying for economic development, raising issues in public forums, writing letters of support, lobbying politicians at all levels and so on. We support the Regeneration Partnership, support for the Regeneration Partnership, sorry, the Chamber of Commerce, Transport Forum we have as well, all comes from that source. As the DSG is the only public forum amongst these forums I'm talking about, so we do tend to get a wee bit of flack and so on, but it does give us a chance to put information out there as well. So the NDA's investment in Scrabster has been quite crucial. The Jubilee key that you saw there, without that, the gravity anchors for the May-Gen tidal turbines would have been deployed from elsewhere, and as it was, they were manufactured by a company quite close to Scrabster, just a few miles away. A large number of components, such as transformers. There's a big investment going on in the electricity grid in Caithness in the north to do with renewables. So a lot of that stuff comes in through Scrabster. The ice plant, without the ice plant, some of the local fishing would have either relocated or ceased operation altogether. The nearest other ice plants are Peterhead, down in Aberdeenshire, and Lochimber way on the west coast there. At least a day's sailing away from Scrabster, and that would have lost us some of the fish processing and export. And the harbour workboat assists things like helping the larger boats to berth as well. As Tom said, we haven't finished. We want to develop the old Sentola pier to allow these bigger cruise ships and the oil supply and offshore renewables vessels to berth. And we want to maximise the benefit from any new oil-related development west of Shetland. And we also have an enterprise zone right next to it for inward investment. So that's only part of the NDA story, of the NDA investment story and facilitation of development in our area. We could give you other presentations on the impact of NDA at Wick Harbour, which will be a major player in offshore wind, coming on stream very shortly. A road and rail crane at Georgemas, which was put there for the nuclear cargoes, but it has the potential for shifting freight from road onto rail. The Nucleus Archive in Wick, creating around 20 good high-quality jobs, and a home for the council's local archives as well. And pump priming of things like, the removal of the hairpin bend at Bennedale, which you see in our displays as well. It's a 9 million improvement in our Lifeline Road. It would not have happened if we hadn't been in there lobbying for it and at every opportunity. So when you come to Caithness for your next summit, we can tell you all about these things. Yay! Thanks for listening.